Hello, I'm Rebecca Isbell, and I'm so glad you've chosen to join us today as we celebrate a treasure in the Knoxville community. First, let's look at what the world is going to be like for our children today that are in our homes, in our schools, in our community. We know it's going to be very different. We're going to talk about how different it might be and how we can help them to be ready for this very different world. Why are some of the reasons it's going to be so different in the future? Well, for one thing, thousands and thousands of new pieces of information are coming out every day. We also have an increased knowledge of how the brain works. And we are particularly interested in how the brain learns and connects during childhood. We'll have new problems that we've never solved before. We've had a great example of this during the COVID. There was no books to tell us what to do. People had to solve the problem to figure out how things could work and how the vaccine could slow down the progression. But we are not just alone and isolated. We are part of a global world where people around the world are listening and watching and connecting. And we are also dealing with changing environments as we try to figure out how to deal with those changes. So why is creative thinking important in today's world? Why do we need thinkers and problem solvers? Can't we do the things the way you and I learned it, where we sit in a group and we repeat it after the teacher and we memorized information? That's not going to work in the future because things are changing. But at the time that we need great creativity, we are actually seeing a decline in creativity, and particularly in children. Now, this decline is of great concern for all of us who love and work with children. But why? Why is our creativity being stopped or slowed down? Well, there are many reasons, but one of them is our focus on standardized testing that are requiring a right answer, and they're not measuring their innovative abilities, their problem-solving possibilities. Where there is a stress on academics, we need a stress on thinking and creative problem solving. We're also seeing less of the arts. And again, art is not the only place where we have creative thinkers, but it's a wonderful place where many people can find their way into being creative. And we're seeing less time for play. We need play to learn. Young children learn best through play, where they take the things they're doing and adapt it and adjust it to their own level of understanding. I've been very interested in the work of Paul Torrance, who was a professor at the University of Georgia and then who also developed the Torrance Creativity Test, which is not at all like a standardized test. It is a figurative test where you have figures and designs and children are asked to problem solve and think of unique ideas. And he also found that he really enjoyed working and researching 3, 4, and 5-year-olds. And he actually said in some of his writings, the most creative people in the world are young children. Kim was one of his students, and she is now at Georgetown University. And she did follow-up research using the same kind of group that he did, the same kind of evaluation instrument, and she found some rather shocking results. Ones that you and I, as parents and teachers and community leaders, need to be concerned about. They found them when these were compared with the children 20 years ago when Torrance was doing his first study, that there was a significant decline in the creativity of children, and particularly at the 5 to 6 age period. She also found that young children were less capable of critical thinking and had trouble identifying problems and expressing their ideas. Perhaps you've heard of Sir Ken Robertson, who passed away just recently. He had the most watched TED Talk ever. We are preparing people to work in factories, not thinkers or problem solvers. I believe that creativity should now be the priority in education. A committee for the 21st century in the United States, made up of leaders of the community, CEOs, parents, educators, they worked together for several years to try to identify what are the skills that our children are going to need as they live and grow in the 21st century. And interestingly enough, these were not facts, memorization of information, but rather they were capabilities that would help them to be able to survive and thrive with this new and different world. In the center, you'll see creativity because it touches everything. It also includes communication, being able to communicate, being able to collaborate with other people, not isolated as we are now, but working with other people, and being able to do problem solving, critical thinking. To help us remember, these are the 4 C's that they believe were the competencies that children are going to need in the future. James Heckman has been a Nobel laureate, winning in the area of economics. But interestingly enough, although his field is economics, he has begun studying for the last 10 years or so the effects of quality early childhood programs, not only on the children, but on the economics and on the community and the social welfare of the people. This graph shows you what he developed, where he showed that if you invest in the early years, 0 to 3 and 4 to 5, your returns are going to be significantly more than if you wait till a child goes to school or later has job training. He says if we want to make a difference, if we want to close the gap in education, we must focus on the early years and focus on supporting programs that are going to help children become community members and social adjusted people. So who has the potential to be creative thinkers? Well, we all do, but the ones that are already there are young children. If you have young children in your home or you have them in your community or in your classroom, you know they are filled with possibilities. And it's only later that we push them into conforming and thinking of one way and not having innovative, unique ideas. When you ask a young child, are you creative? Do you have good ideas? Almost all of them will say, yes, yes. And if you wait till middle school, there's a big drop. 32% believe that they are capable, creative thinkers. And by the end of high school, only 10% believe that. So we who are working with children must realize that those early years are the time to build the foundation and the confidence. So what do we need for the 21st century? We need communicators, collaborators, thinkers, problem solvers, innovators, and creators. So our challenge today is to support and nurture children being creative thinkers. What are the benefits of starting early? We have a strong foundation. We build their confidence in their capabilities. We help them see a world of possibilities. We know that they will nurture and develop that potential if they are given the opportunity to do that. They will become communicators if they have people to talk with and express their ideas. I have a couple of pictures of children learning that I just wanted you to see how a young child learns. It has to be concrete. It has to be experiential. And we know that's what has the most positive benefits on the brain. This little boy is taking a medicine dropper, and he's been playing in the water area for a while, and he makes the discovery, I can make water go up. Now, he did that because there was an interesting environment for him to explore, and there were materials there that would challenge him to think in new ways. This little boy is using yarn and glue, and he's created a Jupiter. Collaborators working together in possibilities, thinking how each of us can contribute to the idea, to the process. We know that more creative ideas occur when there are a group of people working together and their ideas bounce off of each other, when that environment is supportive and nurturing of unique ideas. They will attempt to construct something unique. They'll be creative thinkers. I watched a little boy who was making a mask and cutting tiny little pieces and gluing them on. His caregiver said, it's time for lunch. And he put his little hands to his head and he said, I can't stop now. My brain is too full of ideas. So how do we support creative young children? We design an environment that nurtures them. It's safe, and they know they can express their ideas here. There's lots of materials that are interesting and novel and unique. And they know that their ideas are going to be respected. And there will be places for them to work and places where they can display what they have created. And they begin to understand, with the guidance of us, that mistakes are okay. We provide children choices. We don't tell them what to do. We allow them to choose things that interest them so that they can solve their problems and they can evaluate what the happenings are. We want open-ended materials because it has many, many different ways you can do it. Unique materials that challenge thinking, time to create and persist, and opportunities to play. Albert Einstein said, I have my best ideas when I'm playing with ideas and possibilities. That's what we want for children. We want to include the visual arts. We want projects where they can build and make things work. We want an inventor area where they can combine materials and come up with solutions and problems. How can we begin? Well, we have to support and appreciate that unique and creative ideas are good. And we have to prepare an enriched environment. And we have to provide challenges that are possible to solve, but allows the child to solve them. And we stretch and expand their possibilities. And together we discover and wonder. Children's museums offer unique possibilities that are not possible at home or in the classroom or other places. In a museum, children are able to expand what they're doing. They have a wider range of materials. They see new areas of interest that they had not thought of before, and they discover together. And we want to make sure that all of these enriched opportunities are available for all children. All children are going to benefit from being able to come to a museum and interact with the enriching and exciting materials that are there, guided by folks who understand that creativity and problem solving is important. So let's just summarize what we've talked about today. Creativity is essential for today's children. And young children have amazing possibilities to become creative thinkers. And they can develop in the 4 C's that we know are important capabilities for the 21st century. They need an environment that will nurture and inspire them, and they will have opportunities to play with materials, ideas, and possibilities. children's museums offer this unique possibility. Today, you can inspire and support young creative thinkers in this project that will nurture the folks that will be leading the community in the 21st century. Thank you.